Guess what it is, dominating the press. Haxi is here to tell us all about it. What could it possibly be, Haxi?
I wonder. Well, le grand soir. It's all happening tonight, reads the front page of Aujourd'hui en France. This, of course, referring to the fact that tonight in Marseille, France will come up against arch-rivals Germany in the Euro semi-final. For this paper, football doesn't get much more exciting than this. They describe it as a match whose significance will transcend the realm of sport.
Yeah, in fact, as Mark was just telling us on the programme, Germany and France, of course, very historic foes, really, when it comes to the football pitch.
Absolutely. The front page of Le Figaro today is asking if Les Bleus will be able to overcome what they call la malédiction allemande, the German curse. The following article goes on to suggest that tonight's match might, for the French, have a slight whiff of revenge about it. A reference to the fact that the French national team has lost to Germany in every major national tournament since, wait for it, 1958.
Wow.
Le Figaro says that the French coach Didier Deschamps and French supporters are counting on the Griezmann-Payet double act to see Les Bleus through to the final against Portugal. And now under the headline, Les Bleus up against a colossal challenge, Le Figaro goes on to get a little grandiose about what's at stake here. For this centre-right paper, it's not just about winning, it's about the grandeur, the recognition, and resurrecting the glory of 1984, of 1998, and of course 2000 when France won the Euros.
OK, fingers crossed for France, of course. The Catholic paper Le Croix, they're taking a slightly different stance here on tonight's match, aren't they?
Plus bleu la vie, reads the paper's front page, a play on words around the popular French soap opera Plus belle la vie. It translates roughly as "we're all blue today," with the image of a man and a young boy looking up, hopefully, at the screen in expectation when France played that action-packed game against Iceland. But the paper points out that it wasn't always like this. In this editorial, the paper says that for this Euro tournament on home turf, Les Bleus have recaptured the hearts and minds of the French people. But it argues that historically the French have often had cause to be ambivalent or even disdainful of their national team. It was hard, says the paper, to forgive the French team for striking during the training sessions at the 2010 World Cup in South Africa. Didier Deschamps, the coach, has previously said that one of the defining factors in tonight's match will be la 12e homme, the 12th man. And as far as La Croix is concerned, the crowd will be an important asset for Les Bleus tonight.
OK, well, football is not the only thing in the French papers. Some of you might be glad to know. It's also the shockwaves of Britain's referendum decision to leave the European Union, still very much being felt here as well, Haxi.
Absolutely. Le Figaro, France's foremost centre-right daily, headlines with "After Brexit, fears for a financial crisis in Europe." The paper takes a rather pessimistic view of the outcome of the Brexit vote, not just for Brits, but for the entire European financial system. This article notes that in London, 6 housing development funds have been frozen due to panicked investors pulling out, essentially, and that the pound sterling is getting weaker and weaker. And there's something of a ripple effect across the European continent, with a number of European markets appearing to be somewhat destabilised. Italy, which of course is already suffering under the weight of heavy debts, is particularly called out for attention here.
And it's those fears really not just confined to the right-wing press. In fact, Libération, it's a very left-wing French paper, is also warning of what it calls a global contamination of the markets.
I like what they've done here with the headline, La Cité de la Peur, the city of fear. It's actually a bit of a pun on a popular French satire called La Cité de la Peur, in which the story goes from mildly absurd to entirely and completely ridiculous. The paper seems to be drawing some parallels between comedy and the Brexit vote. It was Brits, after all, who voted to leave the European Union, but it's Brits first and foremost who are really going to feel the pinch of this economic instability.
And there's quite an amusing cartoon that you found along with that article, isn't there?
Yes, we see Prime Minister Manuel Valls dressed up as a member of the Royal Guard, while we see a smug Finance Minister Michel Sapin. He's dressed up as a policeman, as a bobby on the beat in the City of London. They're standing in front of a sign that says, welcome. But the banker before them is met with a stern finger and a blind insistence from Sapin that any sort of financial reform would be completely impossible.
OK, that's the cartoon then, which Haxie is ending with today in the French paper review. Thanks a lot. She'll be back with the international one a little bit later on.